September 9th. How's everybody doing? I'm making this video today just to answer a question that I was asked and didn't have time to answer recently. And that question was, is putting the net over the tree and just draping it over the top, sort of like the way this one is, you can see it doesn't go all the way down. I always have a shortage, it seems, of nets. Sometimes I have to juggle them from one tree to another, depending on how early or late the tree is. Other times, I have to not drape the entire fig tree with a net, because I just don't have a net that large. So in this case, for example, I just threw the net over the top and I fasten it and secure it to various places, and it works very well. Now, does that mean that there's never a squirrel, or I don't have a big problem with squirrels, but that there's never a bird or squirrel that gets underneath the net? It happens, but it doesn't happen that often, and I can afford to lose a few figs. I don't mind sharing a little. Okay, make that smaller right there. So I allow for that, and I don't have adequate netting available to me anyway, so it has to be what it is. It is what it is. And it works very well. What happens is the birds come down, they get their feet caught in the net. They get caught in the net, and they have a fit. I mean, I can understand why. They're scared, they're frightened, and they're flapping their wings and losing feathers, and they get loose almost invariably. I've had to release about 3 this summer, which Debbie pointed out to me, and she said, they would have gotten probably loose on their own. She said, there's a bird caught in that. There's a bird. Okay. And I grabbed the bird, and it squawks a little bit. I feel sorry for it, really. And I let them loose. I untangle their feet, and I let them loose. And then they won't come back. I don't think they will come back. I tried to look for them, and see if I can identify them by one little feature or another. And they don't usually come back. They've learned their lesson. And the ones that come and get caught in that for a little while, and they fly off on their own, they won't come back either. They get discouraged. They look for something easier to target, to fill their tummies. And it works okay. So I do it. I have no big problem with birds or anything. Again, occasionally I lose a few figs, but it's okay. I can afford to lose a few. Delicious. It's September the 9th. Pick another one. That was really, 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 really good. Rich and creamy. Delicious. Sometimes, I see a couple of really nice figs right there. Look at those. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Sometimes I tie off the net very quickly in little places, wherever I can. I just squeeze together the end of the netting wherever it may appear that I need to tie it, and just tie a little knot, and it holds very well. Other times I use a little fastener. I'll show you, and it's no big deal. I see another really nice, a few more nice figs getting ripe. That's the beauty about this time of year. There's always something getting ripe, even if it's not as abundant as it was a few weeks ago. There's still plenty each day. I make my rounds. I keep my fig trees nice and clean. Remember, fig sanitation. And I eat a few and bring a few in for Deb. Hold on, and I'll show you another form that another procedure that I use for fastening the net. Again, more persimmons have fallen from the Yates. There's a beauty. Oh, that one there. I ought to bite into this one. Maybe I will. Wow. These have seeds. And so you have to be a little careful with these. They're not like the Japanese. Seedless. Very, very good. That's good. Here, I just picked a bunch of Peter's honey and brought them in the house. Maybe I'll get them into this video. This is an impromptu get together, everyone. I didn't really plan on making this video, but I remembered that question, and it's easier for me to just come out and make a quick video and answer that question thoroughly than to do all the texting. Here I just used some ties. I just tied the net onto one of the, this is a LSU Tiger. It's completely now, this particular one. In the back of the shed, I still have some nice figs on it. But here, this one is, there's no more figs. It's over with. September the 9th, completely. So I need this net, and I'm going to, that's what made me think about it. I started to take this tie off, and then I thought, oh, I better run in and get the phone, because I'm going to move this net. I have an uncovered Celeste tree behind the barns that still has a considerable amount of figs still. It's kind of a late variant. It's always a little later than the others. You're always going to find these little anomalies in every given family of figs. No matter what happens, you're going to find an anomaly. Again, based on where the fig came from originally and so on and so forth. And so I've got one that's behind the house, behind the sheds rather, that produces fruit a little longer than the others. Like, for example, over here I have my largest persimmons, not the largest in size of the fruit, but the largest tree that has no more fruit on it. It hasn't had any fruit for over a week. None at all, not one. You can look up there and you can see for yourself. It's just devoid of any figs. Totally. And this is Celeste. There's nothing I can do about that except for have another variant baby that I took notice has later figs or fruits for a longer period of time, over a longer period of time. And so I do have those in my collection. In fact, I might as well just get this net off and show you where I'm going to bring this net now, since it's of no use on this tree any longer. I just have to unravel these connectors, these ties, and then I'll get back to you and we'll take a walk over to the other fig tree where I'm going to throw this net on. While I am very close nearby, probably just 30 feet or so, this is another Celeste that does produce over a longer period. It's earlier than the others and later than the others. So you can see there's still fruit, some fruit on this tree that will ripen eventually. So I thought I'd just stop over here. It's nice to be able to have a few different of your favorite varieties so that you can get this variation in fruit production. You see? They all get ripe. You see, here's some more. And it's such a treat. Look, some more over here, see? It's such a treat because there's a nice one that will get ripe. See that one right there? Where you at? And it's such a treat to come out in the yard every day and you have one or two figs waiting for you to pick. All right, I'll go over to that other tree. By the end of the day, I'll be gulping down this Alma and probably a few others Alma is a distinctive fig, very unique since it's a hybrid, roundish, and sort of amber interior, and very sweet and delicious. I'm on my way. Well, I made a video about my little fig cutting garden here, which I'll be releasing very soon. And I demonstrate how I planted these Peter's honey, these very beautiful, healthy cuttings in the ground. I talked about it and went into detail for those of you that want to try this method. This is my easiest and best way. Convenient, successful, highly successful, almost a complete sure thing way that I plant cuttings in the summertime. And it's a no-nonsense method that works invariably. I love it. I really do. It's a sure thing. And I've been making periodic videos of this for your convenience too. And I made quite a record of the whole process, if you want to refer back to those videos. And there's different varieties in here. I won't go over them again, but they're all doing really well. The last ones I put in were some Desert Kings. They're here. You'll see them in the other videos. And look, they're doing nicely. Here, this was just very recently. Back there was 4 of them. And one over here, which I see starting. And where is it? It's in there somewhere. But anyway, then I just very recently, just a few days ago, a couple days ago, I decided I was going to do some Peter's honey. And even though it's very late in September, I mentioned that I thought that the geothermal temperature of the earth, which is warmed up all summer, will hold some of its heat for a while, and that in 4 weeks or so I should have pretty nice sprouting of the roots, and they will. I hope they will have taken, and I might get 6 weeks because of maybe Indian summer in October, but I don't think I'll need that long for them to sprout out roots. And then I'm going to, and I mentioned in the video in more detail that you'll be seeing soon, then I'm going to cover this whole area with mulch. I'm going to put up a little fence and put leaves and mulch and things, grass clippings to protect these until the spring, and then I'll move them and give them to the people that I have them earmarked for. Okay, let's get back to that persimmons tree now. I'm making my way back there, but there's always something to see and observe and appreciate. I see a ripe black Madeira, so I'm going to get under this net and I'm going to pick that black Madeira. Can you see it down there? Oh yeah, it seems like it's good and ready. All right, let's open this one up. Look at that. Oh wow, now that is a beauty. You can just see the deliciousness in this fig. You know, it reeks with beauty and exquisite, sublime tastes. Oh, it's just beautiful, isn't it? I love black Madeira. I love all my figs. That's a beautiful fig. It's a beautiful fig. What a treat. I'm going to gobble up half of this right now. Mm-hmm. That defies description, so I won't try. I won't even try. I'll take this into the house. And let's walk over. And we'll take a look at that Celeste tree. Then I'm going to get a net over. I couldn't unravel those ties with one hand, and I was afraid to put the camera down. I thought it might turn off inadvertently, so I'll go back and get it when I finish this video. But here's the other Celeste that it's It's got figs on it still, while others in my collection don't. You see them all. There's quite a few, as you can see. Everywhere you look, I'll take a walk around. You can see them everywhere. Okay. Get up here on the raised bed. Work my way around the tree. They're at various points of maturation. Some will be getting ripe very soon, and some in a few days, and some next week. I'll take them all. I love my figs. See? So the net needs to go over this one now, and that's where I'm going to take it. Alrighty. There's that beautiful tree, isn't it? Actually, there's two trees there, about 3 foot apart, and they're just doing gloriously. So they will remain there. They've earned their right to perpetuity. I'll just walk around. I guess that's about all I'm going to talk about today. I've got some chores to do and some errands to run. Oh, look how lovely. Look at that. That's a surprise. Beautiful. Aren't they pretty? I love that color. Wow, I love this breeze. Look. I'm going to be fruiting, making flowers all the way up. Look at that. See that? Oh, some nice figs in there. Here and there. Put this over the top there like that. Keep the birds out of here. They're not bothering me too much. What a beautiful day. It's in the 70s. I love it. Oh, you know, I should have mentioned. Yeah, no, I will mention. Gosh. Did I cut away some branches yesterday? I received a surge, an exhilarating surge of ambition and energy all of a sudden just before dark last night. And my Hollier fig tree, which is in there and was surrounded by all of these different varieties and fig trees. I so love Hollier, and I have a beautiful tree. Look how beautiful that tree is in there. You see it down there? See the base of it? And so what I did was, and it's pretty tall, it's getting tall. Next year it's going to be just loaded with fruit. And I devoured another one last night. It was delicious. I love Hollier. And so this was all filled in with branches. You can see where I started to clip them away, you see? I started pruning. Look down there. I pruned. If this is of any interest to you. If not, click me off. But I made some room for this Hollier, and I cut this back. I'm going to cut this back a little more too. There's another variety in here that I'm going to cut back. And I went around the other side and did likewise. I cut away some of the Feliciano Bianco. You can see where I've got it tied in tight now. I tied the Hollier a little closer together, and I made room so that the sun will hit it. And I'm going to cut off more branches. Hold on, I'll go around that way. I know that this sort of thing is mainly for the newbies, but I'm still doing it. You got to do these things to manage your orchard. Now, in the spring, I'm going to cut away some of these branches too of the Feliciano Bianco and make a little more room in here and better manage this Feliciano Bianco because it is such a vigorous grower. It's probably the most vigorous grower I have of all the fig trees I've ever had in my collection. It's very vigorous. You just can't hurt this tree. You just can't. It's just, and it's very winter hardy. It's just amazing. It's an amazing variety. But anyway, I'm going to cut this back and better manage this and just let the larger branches go up. I'm going to really cut out a lot of this undergrowth here. Get this out of the way. I might even do it this fall or soon. so that there's more space between the Feliciano Bianco and the other varieties in the back. I've got red Lebanese back there, and I've got black Marius. But anyways, I will, and I've got to cut that away. There's another tree, there's another Celeste variant growing right next to it, and I'm going to have to cut that back. I have so many, so I can afford to cut it back. I might just have to cut it out of there completely, because now they've grown together and there's not much room for my Hollier. But I think that can wait until the spring. And then my Hollier will be pretty much all by itself. It will have its own space and get plenty of sunlight. I'm going to cut out some of the bottom, not now, but in the spring. Who knows how much dieback? I might get dieback. It might be a very, very severely cold winter, and I may regret cutting out these under branches, because they're closer to the earth and they receive more geothermic warmth, and so they may survive. I might even, when I throw the mulch over top of them, I might bury some of those branches under the mulch just to ensure that I'll have them in the spring, should the rest of the tree receive a lot of dieback from the cold. I hope that it won't. Hollier has of course, it's an LSU fig, and it has Celeste in its lineage, and therefore it's very cold hardy. Celeste is one of the most cold hardy figs in my collection, if not the most, experience tells me. So I'm not too worried about it. It survived beautifully the last couple of years, last 3 years, from a little tree to a much larger tree. Now that it's coming into its own, I'm very excited about it. In fact, I see a lot of formation. I even see what looks like figs, maybe some Breba maybe, for next year. I see it formulating. But whatever the case, we'll find out next year. But I have some very, very thick, look at these beautiful thick branches. Look at that. I'm very excited. Look at that. They're just beautiful. And they're full. They're going to be, I can see the fruit forming everywhere. They're going to be full of fruit next year. Delicious fruit, and they're going to have complete access to the sun. And so I'm looking for a great crop of Hollier, and I am going to cut some of these branches in the spring, and I'm going to make new Hollier plants. I'm going to do some air layering, and I'm going to plant several of these around the yard and on my other properties too. I'm looking very forward to it because I like it. I like it. I've mentioned it quite a few times this summer. It takes sometimes 3-4 years to really get a feel of what a fig tree is going to do for you in the future. I've always liked Hollier whenever I featured it in my videos, and I most certainly like it now, and even more so than before, because again, it's maturing and it's coming into its own, and so I have great anticipation here. I really am looking forward to more Hollier plants that I want to plant in the ground. Again, it's very winter hardy. I can't say anything bad about it. I just like it. It's a valuable cultivar, and so I'm excited about getting more planted in the ground, and I'm going to. I don't have any of these on my other property at 7B, so I'm going to get a plant and bring it there. It's also nematode resistant, so it should do very well on my other property. Celeste is very nematode resistant. It's not tops. The top nematode resistant fig that I have read and that I gave one to my brother-in-law is LSU Purple. LSU Purple, and I'm going to get some cuttings from that too. And I'm going to do a little grafting, and get some more plants planted in 7B of my favorite type, like Rondi Bordeaux, which is very susceptible to nematodes. But the LSU is number one. Cadota and you will read this, Cadota and Peter's Honey, both mentioned separately, because Peter's Honey is sort of a sport from Cadota. They are both highly nematode resistant. They are the next in line. It's LSU Purple, and then Cadota and Peter's honey equally. And then you have some of the other LSU figs. You have like, because they have Celeste, you have Celeste next. And then you will have varieties like Canadria, which is also an LSU fig. No, Canadria is a Ira Condit fig, going back even further, one of the first hybrids. And it's very, very nematode resistant. I once had a really, really long, a really, really tall, big tree in my other property, and it lasted for years and years. And then eventually, it was too close to the deck, and Debbie made me chop it away. So I just chopped it out of there. It's not my favorite flavored fig either, but boy, did it flourish in that environment, because it was nematode resistant. It was just really, and Desert King is another that you can count on for being nematode resistant. Well, anyway, I'm rambling here. I'm going to end this video. Hollier is also nematode resistant. It's known for that because it does have Celeste in its lineage. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that. I'm going to get LSU purple back into my collection and in ground, and I'm going to make some grafts with one of my favorite varieties, Ronde Bordeaux, because Ronde Bordeaux I just can't get it growing in 7B. It will grow, but it doesn't do well. And I've got a couple there, and I dig down in the roots and I can find the nematodes. The nematodes are attacking it with a vengeance. It's highly susceptible to nematodes. That's the one and only bad thing that maybe I would point out about Ronde Bordeaux. If it really rains a lot, it will suck up water and it will tend to split a little. But remember my advice always about high and dry. Plant high and dry, and I don't have that problem almost never. It's happened to me a little, but nothing of any consequence. But other than that, I would say that the nematodes is another criticism I have towards Ronde Bordeaux. After that, it is one of the most splendid and highly cherished and appreciated figs that I've ever grown. Rewarding, satisfying. I just love the taste. I love everything about it. Its earliness. It's very exotic. I love Ronde Bordeaux. So I'm excited about getting some Ronde Bordeaux on some LSU rootstock. LSU purple rootstock, the most nematode resistant fig. And that is going to be a successful combination that I just can't wait to get into the ground. And in a couple of years, I'll be featuring it and I'll be all excited and gobbling them down. Well, you know the drill. Okay. Good day. Feliciano Bianco, main crop. Lousy. I'm not even going to eat that. Not generally good, but I will tell you, an anomaly. This year, this tree made a lot of ripe main crop figs, and many of them were very tasty. I was very surprised. You see, you can never tell in the world of figs. It's a very interesting and fascinating hobby. You learn new things and experience new things that are generally sometimes outliers from what you're accustomed to, quite often. This tree produced an abundance of main crop figs this year, and many of them were good. Now, when I say good, they're not apex flavored figs. This is just leftovers. These the ones I just showed you. Look how little this one. I'm talking about a little larger than this, twice as large. And I'd give them like a 6.5 or 7. Some of them, out of 10, they were really good. Now this one's a little better than the other, but still poor. Fair to poor. honestly, I was very impressed. Now I'm wondering what this tree's going to do next year. It's probably going to make a great many more uncharacteristic of the San Pedro type figs. It's going to make more main crop figs that get ripe, or maybe they'll all fall off next year, which they're supposed to do. And the average, I said, is about 15 to 20% on the Feliciano Bianco will get ripe of the main crop and not need caprification, which is an anomaly in the San Pedro group. But that separates this from Desert King. But this year, this year, I have to say, I don't understand why. I can't give you an explanation of any kind, really. Just that we don't always know what nature's going to yield. Sometimes we're surprised. Good day.